True Crime Lab Hub, where real crimes unfold and hidden motives are exposed.
Tonight, prosecutors revealing more about the break in the case, the disappearance of Kristin Smart nearly 25 years ago in San Luis Obispo. Authorities charging Paul Flores with murder, saying he killed Smart during an attempted sex assault. His father also charged, allegedly helping to hide the body.
On a warm Friday night in May 1996, a 19-year-old college student went to a party near her campus. She laughed. She talked with friends. She planned to return to her dorm and sleep. But she never made it home. Kristin Smart vanished just steps from where she should have been safe, her own university campus. The last person seen with her claimed he was helping her. For decades, no body was found. No confession came. Yet years later, when investigators searched beneath a quiet family home, they uncovered evidence so disturbing that it finally told the truth about what happened to Kristin that night. And the most painful part? Her family is still waiting to bring her home. Stay with me, because what was discovered years later would change this case forever. Backhand index pointing right if you follow true crime stories that demand justice. Subscribe now, because this is one story the world must never forget.
Behind every headline lies a story of love, betrayal, and cold-blooded murder. Subscribe now and step inside the world of true crime.
Kristin Smart was last seen walking with Paul Flores to the red brick dorms on Cal Poly's campus. Nearly 25 years later, the sheriff's office announcing the arrest of Paul for the murder of Kristin. Now, a lot of people are asking, why now? And Sheriff Ian Parkinson says physical evidence found in the recent search warrants at the Flores' family homes has led to enough probable cause to arrest not only Paul, but also his father, Ruben. Reporter Megan Healy with our sister station has the latest developments in this case.
Kristin Denise Smart was born on June 26, 1976. She grew up in Stockton, California, in a close and loving family. Those who knew Kristin describe her as kind, outgoing, and responsible. She was the type of person who checked on others, who made friends easily, and who took her future seriously. Kristin loved sports. She was active, healthy, and independent. In 1995, she enrolled at California Polytechnic State University, commonly known as Cal Poly, in San Luis Obispo. She was just finishing her first year of college. For Kristin, college was a new chapter: freedom, education, and opportunity. She lived in campus housing and stayed connected with her family. There is no evidence that Kristin had children. Any romantic relationships she may have had were private and not central to the events of this case. Most importantly, she was a young woman with her entire life ahead of her, and that life would be stolen. On Friday, May 24, 1996, Kristin attended an off-campus party near Cal Poly. Parties like this were common, especially at the end of the school year. She arrived that evening and spent time socializing. As the night went on, Kristin became intoxicated. By around 2 a.m., she was found passed out on a neighbor's lawn near the party location. Two students noticed her condition and decided to help her get back to her dorm room. As they walked, a third student joined them. His name was Paul Flores. Paul Flores was also a Cal Poly student. He lived in a dorm close to Kristin's. At some point during the walk, Paul told the other two students that he would take over and make sure Kristin got home safely. Because his dorm was near hers, the others agreed. That was the last time Kristin Smart was ever seen. She never returned to her dorm. She never contacted her family again. By morning, concern turned into panic.
If you enjoyed this true crime story from True Crime Lab Hub, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, like, and share it with fellow true crime enthusiasts. We'd also love to hear your thoughts, so drop your comments below. And before you go, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, so you'll be notified the moment we post new videos. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more gripping true crime stories.
When Kristin did not show up for work the next day, alarms were raised. Her family was notified. Friends searched the campus. University staff were contacted. Law enforcement began investigating. Paul Flores told authorities he walked Kristin toward her dorm but claimed he left her before she arrived. However, his statements contained inconsistencies. Despite immediate searches of the area, Kristin was nowhere to be found. No witnesses reported seeing her after she was last with Paul. As days passed, the search expanded. Police, volunteers, and eventually federal agencies searched fields, buildings, and surrounding areas. But there was no sign of Kristin. No clothing. No belongings. No trace. The campus community was shaken. Parents across California began questioning campus safety. And Kristin's family refused to stop pushing for answers. From the very beginning, Paul Flores stood out. He was the last confirmed person to be with Kristin. Witnesses reported seeing him walking closely with her. Some recalled behavior that raised concern. Yet for years, there was not enough evidence to charge him. Paul returned to his life. Kristin did not. Over the years, investigators continued to monitor Paul Flores. Search warrants were executed. Properties connected to him were examined. Still, no arrest came and no remains were found. For Kristin's family, time stood still. Every birthday passed without her. Every holiday carried the same question. Where is Kristin? Though the case grew cold publicly, it never stopped moving quietly. Journalists kept asking questions. Tips continued to come in. Years later, renewed public attention brought new momentum. A podcast titled Your Own Backyard reintroduced the case to a new generation. Listeners learned about missed opportunities, unanswered questions, and troubling patterns. The pressure mounted. In April 2021, investigators arrested Paul Flores and his father, Ruben Flores. Searches of their homes revealed items investigators described as significant. At Ruben Flores' property, evidence was discovered beneath a deck. Prosecutors later presented findings that suggested human blood had been present. The theory was clear. Kristin had been killed, and her remains had likely been hidden. The trial began in July 2022 in Monterey County Superior Court. Paul Flores faced charges of first-degree murder. Ruben Flores was charged as an accessory. Despite the absence of Kristin's body, prosecutors laid out a detailed case. They presented witness testimony. They explained patterns of behavior. They introduced physical findings that supported their theory. The defense argued there was no body, no direct proof. But the jury listened carefully. On October 18, 2022, Paul Flores was found guilty of the murder of Kristin Smart. Ruben Flores was acquitted of accessory charges. For Kristin's family, it was a moment of mixed emotion. Justice had finally spoken, but Kristin was still missing. In March 2023, Paul Flores was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison. The courtroom was filled with emotion. Kristin's family spoke. They described decades of pain. They described a daughter, a sister, a friend frozen in time at 19 years old. Paul Flores showed little reaction. Kristin's body has still not been recovered. The case remains open. Her family continues to hope that one day, her remains will be found and returned home. Kristin Smart's disappearance led to real change. California passed the Kristin Smart Campus Security Act. This law requires public colleges to coordinate closely with local police when students go missing or face harm. It ensures faster response, clearer responsibility, better communication. Kristin's legacy is not just her tragedy, but the safety improvements that came after. Kristin's case teaches painful lessons. Never assume someone else will take responsibility. Always ensure intoxicated friends arrive safely with verification. Universities must respond immediately when students disappear. Families should trust their instincts and push for action. Most importantly, silence allows harm to continue. Public attention matters. Persistence matters. Justice can take decades, but it is never too late. Kristin Smart should be alive today. She should be living her life. Instead, her name became a symbol of unanswered questions, and eventually accountability. Paul Flores will spend the rest of his life behind bars. But Kristin's family still waits for the one thing no sentence can give them: closure. If the story moved you, share it. Talk about Kristin. Say her name. Subscribe for more true crime stories that demand truth, justice, and accountability. Comment below. Where are you watching from, and what part of this case stayed with you the most? because forgetting is the last injustice.
If you enjoyed this true crime story from True Crime Lab Hub, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, like, and share it with fellow true crime enthusiasts. We'd also love to hear your thoughts, so drop your comments below.